Hey friends, how's it going? Welcome back. It's Thursday. It's been a whole week since last week. I know. That's how it works. Once a week. Content. Yep, absolutely. Hope you guys had a good Halloween holiday last week. Yes, I had a good time. We handed out candy and my neighbors and everything. We all had a great little party thing, atmosphere going on. And my neighbor set up a outdoor screen and projected the Dodger game on it. So we were watching Game 6 of the World Series, and it was fantastic, and we had a lot of fun. Had some beers, a lot of good food, and great baseball. So, yeah, met a lot of neat people with their kids, saw some neighbors that I knew already, some people I've known for a long time, and it was really great. It was a lot of fun, and I liked that environment, and that nice, wholesome family environment, and you're seeing a lot of people that you don't know in a safe environment, and everyone's having a great time. And I saw a lot of homemade costumes, which is really refreshing because, you know, we get jaded. You know, we think, oh, things just aren't what they used to be, and kids today, and we just prattle on about all things that aren't the same as when we were kids, right? Yeah. But I think we're wrong a lot of the times, because we're just a little biased. We had a great time growing up ourselves, and we know that time is over for us. But I know when I see kids trick-or-treating, it makes me happy because it reminds me of my younger days, and it's nice to see it actually kind of booming. Right around my neighborhood here, it's, cars. I love cars, but they don't need a sound like that. Anyways, but yeah, it's nice to see young families and their kids with pillowcases and homemade costumes, because that's what my childhood was like. My mom would make us a lot of the costumes my brother and I would wear, and that was special. That was fun, and I have very fond memories of that. So, yeah, but that was the holiday. That was the fun part about Halloween. It was, just putting on something fun and silly and going out and getting a bunch of candy and, But now, since the pandemic, I know during the pandemic nobody was trick-or-treating for obvious reasons, but it was last year, believe it or not, it was 2024 that it really made a full comeback in spades. It really was. It was a lot of kids from all ages, all the way to the early teens, that were out trick-or-treating, groups of friends and with their parents, or all by themselves with other friends. They were all out, just crossing the streets, walking through the neighborhoods, and having a good time, safe time. And I got to reminisce about those times as being a kid myself, and that was really nice. It made me feel good. But yeah, this last Halloween was fantastic. Saw so many fun costumes, and it was really special, and had a good time with my neighbors, handing out candy and everything. We all had a great time. So hope you guys had a safe and enjoyable holiday. Halloween's fun. So what are we doing today here? Well, we got a number 1 CT Ham Cold Blast. Now, I don't bust this out very often, but as you can see, it's clearly a number 1 Cold Blast. And I got this thing with a number 2 Cold Blast, same generation, beaded baffle. Yeah, one of my favorite examples of CT Ham Cold Blast lanterns, and I'm still yet to discover or find out exactly what timeline this fits in. Some people say 1905, 1906. Some people say pre-1900. I don't know what to believe anymore. It's definitely early. Now, of course, there's a patent date on the baffle there. Not the baffle. That's the baffle. This is the manifold here. And I would say, I should probably take a little bit of a look, huh? Well, let me get my cheater. The old telephone here. This will zoom in on what we need to see here. Okay. Let's see how we get a little more light on the subject here. Okay. Got a picture. Let's see. 93. Let's see, I think there's a month and a day. Okay, so 93 is the last patent date, and I'll show you right here on the phone. Check that out, 93. See that? Yeah. So 31-93, so it's the last day of a month. Any month that runs 31 days. Maybe it's October, I can't tell. But, yeah, there it is. And the last it says applied for on the bottom where the solder is. Let's see here. No, I don't see any month. Anyway, thank you, phone. Come in handy sometimes. But anyways, so 93, because my other cold blast hams that I've had 98. Patented was the last patent, which would be, manufactured between 1900 and 1905, give or take, right around there. Before they came out with the larger donut-style manifold, because this is definitely a holdover from the earlier days. But CT ham lanterns are kind of cool. I mean, I love them personally. I think they're styled very nicely. Beautiful design. And they burn very well, and they have a just elegant look about them. But the number one is fun. They are not easy to find. Just like the number one Blizzard Dietz lanterns. I used to have one. It was a second generation. It was pretty neat lantern, but I sold it to a collector who really wanted it. But anyways, things come, things go. But I do love this thing. It has a great look about it, and the number one Dietz was great. I loved it, but it was just so squeaky clean. I didn't love it. I burned it a few times, and it was okay. It was nice. I mean, but I have a number two Cold Blast Blizzard that I like. And that thing's rustic. And I think you've seen it. It's got patina on it. And that's where really if a lantern has a really nice patina, it doesn't matter what it is. I like it. It has the aesthetic that I appreciate. Yeah. And this is just a dark aged tin. It's not rusty at all. But anyways, fun piece. That's not what we're talking about. What we're going to be talking about is fuel. And the containers they come in. And what to use and what I would suggest to use, or what I use anyways. We all are familiar with this little guy, aren't we? Yeah, we all know this thing, right? This, jug. Yeah, good old Walmart Crown kerosene. Good old 1K. Yeah. Could easily spend 1K on 1K. Sorry. Anyway. But what's the matter with this? It's fine. It's convenient. It has a handle for carrying and a child-proof cap. It's safe. It's safe. Right? Don't attack it. You can't help. Well, what it is, it's a nice design. No, it's not. It's terrible. Yeah, because once you remove this little child-proof cap, which is very easy, a 3-year-old could do it. You just press down and twist. It's not really... No. But it's this spout, this opening, and you can't get all the foil off of it unless you use a razor blade, and who wants to do that? Not me. I tried. It's on there really good. It just doesn't... It's poorly designed. But anyways, what's the matter with this? Besides that it's ugly? You know me, I'm very aesthetically driven. Anyways, I don't want to use this pouring fuel into a lantern. And I've known a lot of guys who have tried to pour fuel, like from here, directly into a lantern. And they're like, it's everywhere. It's getting everywhere, and it's just like big fat mess. And they get upset and they're like, this is crap. I'm not going to do this. Why would I do this? This is messy. This is how it's done. Actually, no, it's not how it's done. That's the improper way to fuel a lantern. This is just what you can use to get the fuel home. Okay? Now, if you store it in this, that's fine. If you have a shelf, you want to keep a whole bunch of these jugs on there, that's your funeral. But I mean, it's perfectly safe to store them in these jugs. That's not the issue. The issue is dispensing. That's right. So what I do is get a big old galvanized funnel from any hardware store that I have one on hand, and then I will put it into one of these. Yes, my Polo can. This is my favorite can. It's got a nice handle right there. And then also little bail handles for carrying. Yes, and a beautiful original label. Check that out. Yes, Winfield. This is made by Winfield. And it even says so on the old cap. Check that out. Look at this cap. Can you believe that? Yeah. Winfield. So I had to have a Winfield for the Winfield lanterns that I have. I have 3 nice Winfield lanterns. I have the Cyclone, which is up there, and I have the glass fountain, and also the standard. But why galvanized fuel cans? Why? What's the benefit? What's the perks? What's the advantage of using a can from the period? Well, wouldn't it be unsafe? Well, I don't know. Why would that be? Sure, maybe it doesn't have the same, seals and all the different things that a more contemporary container would have. Now, I have a lot of opinions on the modern containers because, well, let's be fair here. A lot of them have come about because of issues, I guess, but I think mostly because of gasoline issues. You don't want any of that vapor to escape, and I understand that, because gasoline is a lot more volatile. Now, kerosene, on the other hand, has a very high flash point. It's nowhere near what gasoline is. Gasoline is designed to ignite the vapors. That's how it works in an internal combustion engine. You have fuel being pumped into the cylinders, and then you have a spark plug that ignites, and that drives the cylinder down, and then the crankshaft drives it up, and so forth, and you have a motor. That's how it works. It has to be that kind of volatility to operate a motor. I couldn't put kerosene in my car and expect it to work. It won't work. It won't work. Pure and simple, and you're going to screw up your fuel lines, and you're going to screw up your... Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. But anyways, as volatile as kerosene can be, or people think that it is, it's really not. If I pour kerosene on this bench, if I make a puddle on my bench, and throw a match into it, it just puts it out. I can hold the match directly over the puddle and nothing happens. Now, if I soak a rag with kerosene and light the rag, then it'll catch fire easily. It'll definitely burn. Or if it spills onto a carpet and you drop a match on that, then you're going to have a fire. It has to have a host. That's the trick. Kerosene needs a wick. That's right. But it's very safe to store in one of these. And the evaporation of kerosene isn't that great. Now, of course, this probably would have had a little slip over cap to keep it from letting air in. But it's not a big deal. It's a very small opening, as you can clearly see. Some people have fashioned little plugs for these out of whittling down wood or whatnot, or cork. But I use kerosene enough that it's not just sitting there evaporating and becoming empty. I use kerosene every day. Every night I burn a lantern in my apartment. It's nice. It's what I do. And then when it's done, when the lantern's empty, then I fuel it up again. That's right. So this is what I love to use for kerosene. Now, you just take this cap off like so, and you stick a big funnel in there, and then you can transfer it from here to here. Well, Rob, those jugs like to dribble. They like to drip. Oh, I know. So what I've done is I usually get a shop towel or a rag and I wrap it around this. Say like a bottle of champagne or a wine, like the waiters in fancy restaurants, they wrap a bottle with a towel, and they pour, and it's beautiful, it's elegant, right? Nice experience. Well, you do the same thing with this, but it's not a nice napkin. It's a red shop towel or a paper, Scott blue shop rag or whatever. But I usually hold it and then dump on the side. I don't do it like this. I use it from the side, and somehow that makes a difference. It doesn't dribble as much. But I use a rag just to catch whatever drips down here as I'm pouring. Some people have purchased a spout. You can get spouts for these, and that will eliminate the dribbling at all. It will just eliminate it. And you can dispense it however you wish, but I don't want to buy an accessory for a disposable thing. Because I throw this away. Once I pour all the fuel from this into my 2 cans, I have one back there. I have the other can. Let me just bring it up here. So I have these 2. This one lives out here. You've seen this one before. I've used it in front of you guys before. But yeah, so once I distribute the fuel from here into my 2 cans, 2 can Sam over here. Yeah, you know. Stupid raw. Oh, what are we going to do, huh? Anyways, can't help myself. I just can't. So, and this is empty. I don't need it anymore. I'll throw it in the recycling bin. But yeah, I mean, sure, if you don't have a problem with this thing and you want to get a nozzle for it, that works too. But I get a kick out of using a period can for these. Now you're asking yourself, well, aren't they rusty inside? Aren't they all kind of rotted out sometimes? Yeah, sure, you can find them that way. But galvanized steel is, not really prone to rusting. It's actually pretty resilient. And that's why they use galvanized, is because it wasn't prone to rust. Now, given any kind of metal in any circumstance or environment, then yes, it will eventually rust under the right circumstances. But, for the most part, they don't. Now, here's the thing you want to keep in mind when shopping for a antique or vintage can. Now, notice this one has some color coating on here. See? It's got some blue paint. Blue, as we all know, as we should know, is an indication for kerosene. Kerosene is blue. Gasoline is red. That's right. That's right. So, you want to find a can that has blue paint on it, because that's always been used for kerosene, so that you don't have any cross-contamination. You don't want to, if you get a can that's red and it's never been used, you can use it for kerosene, but you definitely want to mark it for kerosene. You want to put kerosene in paint, get a cool old-fashioned stencil or write it in, sloppy hand-brushed paint kerosene, make it look kind of like from an Our Gangs film, or be a little neat and tidy with a stencil so it looks, period. You want to, if you have a period can, you don't want to make it look modern. That's just why. But do it like the old school stuff. But anyhow, red is gasoline and blue is kerosene. Now, at one time, of course, kerosene was the primary fuel and gasoline was the byproduct. But until the internal combustion engine became a more popular and multiplied, then kerosene took backseat. But prior to that, kerosene was the primary fuel. So you can find them relatively easily on eBay or Marketplace. Now, I've seen what some people do. They upcycle those cans. They turn them into jack-o'-lanterns. They carve them out. Now, if they're rusted out bottoms, I guess fine. But don't take a good can and ruin it. Because I like these cans. They're great cans. There's plenty, but don't do that. If they're rusted out already, then fine, do it. I don't care. But don't take good cans and do that. Don't do it. Anyways, they're safe to use. They're safe to to store kerosene in. Absolutely. I used to have a 5-gallon one. I would take it out to Merit Oil and fill it up for like $20. And that was great. That was cheap kerosene, and it worked fine. But then they stopped carrying kerosene. They had a whole bunch, and they got rid of it, and that was it. They didn't replenish their source of kerosene. So I'm like, ugh. So then I sold the 5-gallon thing because I wasn't going to buy 5 of these, because that'd be like $50. This would be 5 of these would be $50. I save my money to put gas into the car to get to where I want to be sometimes. Instead of burning these things, I don't have to have that much kerosene on here. But anyways, that's just me. If you want to stockpile kerosene, by all means, be my guest. Yeah. Anyways, I'm happy with the small, handheld, little convenient cans that I can keep in my kitchen. I do keep this in the kitchen. Some of you that have been over, you've seen that. It sits on a dynamite box with my Winfield lantern, one of my Winfield lanterns. And yeah, it's very convenient. I go in the kitchen, I fuel up some of my lanterns I want to burn at night, each night, and it's safe. And I don't smell it. I don't smell it when it's in that can. You don't smell it at all. And it's perfectly safe. I mean, you don't want to store it, you know, next to the stove. Not that anything would happen, but kerosene absolutely will burn better when it's warm. So like I said, when burning a lantern, as it burns, the heat from the wick, from the flame, will eventually warm up the fuel, and then it becomes more efficient. And the flame will get a little taller and a little brighter, but then you adjust it, and you have high, perfect efficiency when you're burning your lantern, because of warm fuel is definitely more efficient. Anyhow, there you go. Vintage cans. Find these on eBay, Marketplace, OfferUp, or any antique store really. Thing to keep in mind is make sure the cap comes off, make sure it has a cap. Investigate the inside, take your little light on your phone and just look in there and see what it looks like. If it's rusty, then pass it on. But if it looks relatively clean, maybe has a little residual residue from a previous fuel, acetone will clean it out, or kerosene can clean it out too. So you can, you can prepare it for kerosene and long storage. But find these ones with the more graceful little spout. Some of them have stubby spouts, and those can work too if you want to use a funnel to dispense into your lanterns. But I find these are the best for me. These are very convenient. Some of you guys have other fuel distributors, have like the railroad the shallow cans with the long spout, which are very convenient. This one is what I use mostly. But anyways, shout out to Ken with Lots of Trains. He does something pretty cool. I wanted to give him a shout out. He's been quite busy. He hasn't had a chance to do any content lately, but yeah, he's a good guy. I checked in on him, and he's doing all right. Him and his family are just fine. He's just been pretty busy with other projects. But what he's done is he takes glass bottles, say for olive oil or whatever, he'll clean them out, and then he gets one of those adapters that bartenders use for whiskey bottles or other alcoholic bottles, whatever, and it has a thin, narrow little spout with a little ball inside, so it has a stopper, if you will. But he uses those sometimes. Do they have a stopper? No, they don't have it. Why do I think they have a stopper? They don't have a stopper, but they're a small, little, narrow metal spout, and they use it for mixing drinks in a bar. They're very convenient that way, but it's also good for distributing kerosene into one of your lanterns. So that's what he does. He fills up a glass bottle with kerosene, and then puts the little spout on there, and he fills up his lanterns that way. That works great. Now, if you have a lot of lanterns that you want to fuel, you're going to run out of kerosene depending on how big your vessel is. But yeah, so at any rate, there's a lot of different answers besides using this pain in the neck. This thing will make a mess. So what you absolutely want to do is prepare the area that you're going to distribute or transfer fuel to another vessel. So when you want to decant, definitely be in the garage or outside and use a rag around the jug as you pour into, a funnel into the can of your choice. So that's what I would suggest, and that will make the least bit of mess, and then you will be able to administer fuel to the lanterns of your choice for enjoyment. Everyone's got to leave or do something with their car when I'm making a video, I swear. It's a conspiracy. Conspiracy! Right? Anyways. That'll do it for me. That's all for me, folks. That's it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do appreciate your continued patronage and comments and like and subscribe, as they say. It helps the channel grow. If you want the channel to grow, then do that. Like and subscribe. Now, I've had some people that I've met at cigar lounges subscribe when I tell them about the channel. That's right. I'm sure they're watching. I hope you guys enjoy what I do out here. But I appreciate your subscriptions. And they're not even lantern people. No, they're not. Yet. Anyways, friends, take care. Thanks again for stopping by, as always, and we'll see you in the next video a week from today. Have a great Veterans Day weekend. Bye-bye. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.